name's Ariana Spearin. This is me. It's nearly impossible to get a clear image of this. But this is the best that I can do. I hope you trust that. That is me. Okay. I read Pastoralia by George Saunders. Pastoralia by George Saunders follows an unnamed narrator through his daily experiences as a worker in a theme park. The narrator has a coworker named Janet, who he shares the enclosure with, and the pair are expected to act as cavemen. The pair are constantly in the enclosure, including weekends and during the nighttime. To act as cavemen, they must prepare their own food from the form of a live goat to the form of where it is edible, meaning they must skin and roast the goat over a fire. The act as cavemen is not only when they have people actively viewing the enclosure, but at all times they are expected to pretend to be cavemen. Although this job seems to be less than pleasant, both workers have personal financial issues that have forced them to maintain this job. While the narrator follows all directions to behave as a caveman, Janet frequently showcases herself as a modern-day human while in the exhibit. This frustrates the narrator, but he is generally non-confrontational and would never complain on the daily evaluation sheets that they must complete. A key part of this story is that the employees are severely mistreated. As I said, they are evaluated daily, they live in poor conditions, and must pay to discard of their own fecal matter. Evidently, management prioritizes the efficiency of their labor over the happiness and biological needs, suggesting that the employees should stop producing so much waste, referring to their fecal matter as well as their trash, and even restricting the amount of food that they are given. The employees are threatened by quote-unquote staff remixing, in which the management will fire those who are deemed unnecessary or underperforming. The narrator is not threatened by the staff remixing, but Janet is considered a primary target as management suspects that she is underperforming as a result of multiple customer complaints. After management pushes the narrator to essentially rat out Janet's poor performance, he admits on a daily evaluation sheet that Janet's job performance is lacking. When management sees this, they immediately fire Janet, celebrate the narrator with extra food, and promptly replace Janet. The story ends with the narrator's experience with the new hire in the enclosure. The reader can clearly see that the new hire is more suitable for the job, as she is somehow even more like a caveman than the narrator is. She showed herself to be a promising replacement for Janet, at least in the manager's eye, who values efficiency. That was a summary of the short story. Here's the summary of the literary criticism. The piece of literary criticism I read was entitled, quote-unquote, "Let the Freaking Canning Begin, Human Waste in the Workplaces of George Saunders' Pastoralia." It was written by Freya Verlander. Verlander's central argument surrounds the treatment of the workers in the theme park. Essentially, Verlander analyzes the treatment of the workers and then uses this to suggest that Saunders was creating commentary on the treatment of humans as waste or rubbish in the workplace. Verlander suggests that Saunders is depicting the working class as comparable to typical waste in the eyes of the powerful. Verlander first describes how we treat literal waste, which is by judging the value of something and then deciding whether it is rubbish, meaning it is underperforming, unnecessary, and we should get rid of it. Durable, meaning that we rely on it, or transient, which means that although its value is continuously decreasing, it does not yet need to be wasted. Verlander describes how the state of an object is dependent on the lens that you are viewing it through. In the case of Pastoralia, Verlander says that the lens is based on efficiency as it is a workplace. Verlander then applies the cycle of waste to Saunders' characters and describes how each of the characters are clearly valued only on their efficiency for the company. For example, Verlander describes that Janet was a transient object, but then once she was proven to be underperforming, she became rubbish and was then canned. This is the critical conversation. Freya Verlander's analysis of George Saunders' Pastoralia does hold merit in that clearly the employees are viewed as disposable and replaceable. However, I think Verlander's analysis lacked in noting the clear intentional duality between the employees as waste and how they must handle their own literal waste. Before reading Verlander's analysis, I had assumed that the analysis would center around the literal human waste, such as the fecal matter that the workers had to dispose of. Evidently, I had misinterpreted Verlander's use of human waste, the term human waste, as she strictly uses this term to refer to humans who have themselves become waste rather than the waste that they create. And although Verlander does mention the duality of the term, where waste can refer to the waste of a human life or waste can simply mean trash, she fails to stress that Saunders was clearly trying to paint a picture of duality between the workers and their own waste. Verlander highlighted how Saunders was painting similarities between typical waste to the employees, but did not analyze how Saunders painted similarities between the characters' own waste and themselves. By considering how Saunders describes literal waste in the theme park, it is clear that Saunders was describing the employees as analogous to their own waste. In Pastoralia, management sends out a letter regarding the employees' disposal of their fecal matter and state that the employees creating waste is a waste of company time, that it would be more beneficial to the company if they did not create any waste at all. Therefore, the individual employees would be better at their jobs had they not created any waste, therefore more transient and less considered rubbish. Evidently, there is irony in the fact that while creating waste and disposing of it, they are perpetuating themselves further into the quote-unquote rubbish classification by wasting company time and therefore being a less efficient employee. The inclusion of this complement would supplement Verlander's idea that the employee's value is determined only in terms of their efficiency. It should be noted that Verlander does describe the strange process of waste disposal in the workplace, but is majorly to stress the unethical practices and to support the analysis regarding the importance of workplace efficiency. She does not explicitly focus on the irony of employees handling their waste while simultaneously becoming waste. Saunders spent a great deal of Pastoralia focusing on the waste disposal system, and it would have benefited Verlander to highlight this in order to further support the fact that in Pastoralia, Saunders uses multiple forms of human waste to comment on the poor treatment of the vulnerable working class. All right, that is all. Again, I'm Ariana Spearin. That is so awkward, I'm sorry. That's me. I really hope you caught it in the beginning. I'm sorry, I've tried so many times to be able to show you this. Thank you.